Hey, what's happening? Welcome back to the GM. I'm Leon Boulanger. And in this video, I'm going to talk about something a little different. I'm going to tell you about me so you will kind of know who you're dealing with. Okay. The takes that I make in my videos are not for clickbait. The GM exists for us as an audience to explore two things. One, our inner GM. That's why the show is called The GM. And then two, I wanted to do these videos, which will eventually turn into a full-fledged podcast. I want to do these videos because I want to have honest communication, right? I see too often in national sports media where people are operating with a script. You can tell that they're operating with a script because their takes sometimes can be so ridiculous, right? It can be so absurd, some of the things that they say. And then you have some who try to keep it so real, but what that really comes down to is they keep it real because that's the role that they play in that TV show. That's just really what it comes down to. A lot of times these guys are actors. And what you'll be able to tell and how you'll tell who's real and who's an actor is the people who get a lot of airtime. The people who get a lot of airtime, those are actors, right? Those are the ones who can follow a script. The ones who are not actors are the ones who work for ESPN, First Take, the ones who work for First Things First, Undisputed, and other national shows who make guest appearances. You see, because the guests that come on different shows, they really come off as uncontrollable, right? Um, there's a couple of different guys, and I can't think of their names right now. I really appreciate their takes when they make them because they make honest assessments, right? They really move the scripted story out of the way, and they get down to what my grandma would say is the nitty gritty, right? And so I appreciate about that. I appreciate that about them. Excuse me, but honestly, we don't get a lot of honest communication when we deal with these national shows. And so and so that's why I wanted to do the GM so we can do two things again, explore our inner GM and have honest communication, not debate. Right? I don't really care about debate because here's the thing. I believe what I believe and other people believe what they believe, and sometimes those two sides will never come to an agreement. And so I'm not here to come to an agreement. I'm here to kind of tell you what I think, tell you what I see, what I observe. And so let me tell you a little bit about why I love sports so much. Sports, it probably is the reason that I'm alive. Other than the grace of God, sports gave me something to engage in when life was unpredictable, inconsistent, and I really didn't have nobody to hold me down. Sports gave me a place to belong. And so and so that's number one why I love sports, specifically basketball and football. Um, but that's number one why I love sports. Number two, um, sports allowed me to see the underdog. Like the superstars, they always get the acclaim. They're the ones who stand out. They have the best skill set, so on and so forth. But the underdog is the one that I tend to recognize, right? And so I root for the guy who is always being dumped on. I root for the guy that the national media don't really ride with. The guy who they say things like, "Man, he's so great," but right after that they add the word "but." But he is this, or but he does that, right? Or they talk about a guy's greatness, but they'll include the word if, right? And so those are the guys I kind of rock with because those are the guys who kind of represent my disposition and my perspective. You see, uh, as a trade, I'm a counselor, um, and really love being able to serve people. And what I see in my profession, I see a lot of underdog stories, a lot of people who were counted out, a lot of people who wasn't chosen first, wasn't chosen second, wasn't chosen third. Sometimes they wasn't chosen, right? And those are the guys who kind of come off as misunderstood in the media, such as a Kevin Durant, such as a Lamar Jackson, um, and which are two of my favorite players for sure. Um, and so that's why you heard me talk a lot about Kevin Durant. You heard me talk a lot about Lamar Jackson, because although they're great, people always want to attach a but to uh, their narrative, right? And so I'm here as the GM, you know, to remove those buts. I want to have a clean, honest conversation about sports, and I don't want to make it personal, right? Too often in national media, things get made personal. We start talking about what people do off the field, and if they're not committing crimes, let them do what they do, right? Everybody has an opportunity to live and do how they choose to live and do, right? As long as they're not committing crimes, it's whatever, right? But things become personal. They start talking about a person's character, right? Like you've heard before, Kevin Durant's not a leader. You've heard before, Lamar Jackson's not a leader, right? But you know what? I tell you what I've learned is that leadership is more impactful when it's demonstrated rather than made vocal. See, I can talk all day long about, hey, well, let's go, let's win, let's stick together, keep your head up, that kind of thing. I can do all that rah rah stuff. But if I get out there and I don't perform, then my vocal leadership meant nothing. But if I don't say a whole lot, but I get out there and I ball, and you can count on me every time we're on the court or the field, see, now that's something to follow. I know that when I get behind Lamar Jackson, he's gonna put on his best show to lead us to victory, which would then cause me to follow him and put on my best. I know that if I'm on KD's team, I know his grind, his work ethic, and so maybe he don't say a whole lot, but when I watch him perform, I know that I can get behind that. That's what leadership is. I'm so sick of national media talking about these guys in kind of a disrespectful way. Right. And so what I want to do with the GM, man, is bring honest conversation. And it's just from my perspective, right? I'm not here to say anybody's wrong or right, or I'm not here to insult anybody's take or anybody's career, or nobody to talk about people who don't deserve their job. That's not my business. I'm here to kind of connect with an audience who really wants to just have real sports conversation and really want to um play with the fantasy world from a different aspect. See, the whole fantasy football has blown up. Why? Because people love the idea of being a general manager, right? But unless you're in one of those fantasy football leagues, or maybe do some fantasy trade with basketball or something like that, you don't really get to explore that. So what I want to be able to do is create a platform. And when I say platform, I'm just talking about a space. Um, a platform where we can gather together. I don't know what that looks like yet, but it's coming. Where we can gather together and break bread in sports conversation, right? That's what the GM is going to be about. So to kind of let you know what's coming up, I got some fire commentary about quarterbacks in the league, especially those that are 25 or younger. Um, which may include Joe Burrow, because I think he's a little older than 25, I believe. But I got some fire takes. I got some I'm gonna break down a few things. And so if you enjoy honest conversation, man, the GM is a spot for you. Thank you for listening, man. I appreciate you guys. Again, this is the GM. I'm Leon Boulanger, and I'm out.